We will be back in some form.
We have an army of digital soldiers because this was an insurgency.
Hundreds dead, thousands infected across multiple continents.
You guys know what this represents?
All the people that have gone out there against the mainstream media and said, you're going to call us racist, you're going to call us potential Timothy McVeighs, you are.
Just kidding. Oh, tech stuff, ain't it great? Hey, welcome to the party, the PatriotPartyNews.com. I am your host, Chaz Carter, better known as Underground Patriot, coming to you live with a bunch of peanuts. That's what I have to do sometimes. I quit smoking. So otherwise, I'd have me a big old pack of Marlboro Reds in my pocket and just smoking it out right now because of the craziness in the world. Sorry. But shit happens, right? Well, we got an action-packed show tonight. Everybody better get ready and prepared. You might want to put your seatbelt on. We got special guests coming in. It's kind of a spur-of-the-moment thing, but it's going to be good, and it's about to get really gooder. This is where the cool cats go to get their daily intel news and bread. That's right, the patriotpartynews.com. Folks, we are more just a website. We are a full-functioning, badassery Patriot Broadcasting Network, broadcasting around the world 24/7. Hey, Instagram, sorry about that. They cut me off, and I gave them the middle finger, and I came back on. So I just don't like getting shut down like that. But that's why we do what we do. Hey, help us out. Donate to the cause. We would sure appreciate you. We've been a hell of a steward with your resources, and we will continue to do so. We're not owned. We're not bought. And all we want to do is tell the truth. That's it, period. If you don't care about the truth, don't watch us. That's what we have to say. If you're tired of the bullshit, you're in the right place. That's why we made this. So it's BS free. Another way you can support us is by going to our own platform called Patriot Shoot. Go to join.patriotshoot.com, join.patriotshoot.com. Get access to all the rooms, the QFS room, humanitarian projects room, which is huge right now. The kind of the bells and whistles are starting to pop on by design. Our voice chat platforms, our stake groups. Be a part of something bigger than yourself. You know, we always heard in the beginning of this, or at least I did anyway, people would say, you know, it's just poor, pitiful me. I can't change anything. What can I do against what they're doing to us? You can join us. We get bigger every single day. Every single day we're growing. We've been waiting for this, well, some of y'all, for about 20, 30 years, what's about to happen. 7 years for me. I'm a late bloomer, but I like to dance, and the party won't start till I dance. And we need to understand information right now for what's really going on matters. It so matters right now. Again, go to join.patriotshoot.com. Excuse me, join.patriotshoot.com. Also, our other partners you can check out on our page. I'm going to tell you right now, they kick ass and take names. ppnnetwork.q broadcast. You want to go there for streaming service. Under $60 a month, you get freaking everything and free pay-per-view. Okay. Our LT360 products, Hill products from Coach Scott. Use discount code PPN. Best products out there. That hydration from Bio Scans, telling you exactly what you need for your body. I've had it done. I know Warren's had it done. It's amazing. That's just the iceberg. You want some incredible stuff that keeps you from not getting a lot of those heavy metals and things and protects you, benzol and all of that. LT360 has that. Just make sure you use PPN as the discount code. Also, Cardio Miracle, PPN code. Get a discount there. And Hunter's Blend Coffee. I had OM sent me a text and showed me where he got the black powder. I thought that was pretty awesome. My favorite's Java. I like it all. You can't go wrong. Go to huntersblendcoffee.com. Use PPN as a discount code. And this is something that we really like to talk about, is getting that graphene oxide out of your body. Understand, it comes from the sky, from the chemtrails, and also the food that we eat. They're putting it in freaking everything, including water now. Okay? So we've got to protect ourselves. Remove the graphene oxide by the Roots blend. You can use Clean Slate, which is a phenomenal product. It's this product right here. I use that. Get all those bad, nasty stuff they're putting in our bodies with the metals and stuff. Again, rootsbrand.com/PPN. And then, of course, obviously, Patriot Mobile in the house. Use PPN, and you will get free. And let me repeat that. Free activation. Yes, almighty. All right. So, I'm going to be... we got Matt Murphy coming in tonight. As soon as he hits the studio, I'll bring him in. I know that we were dealing with some tech issues earlier, so we'll see what's up there. Also, there he is. All right, give me a thumbs up if you're ready. I know you. Okay, cool. Because they're always blocking your ass. I already know. So hang on. Okay, let me go ahead and bring you in here. What's up, brother?
What's going on, Jazz? How we doing, man?
Man, hanging there like a hair in a biscuit, my friend. Watching the debacle of the world getting cray cray.
Man, it's
So,
a shit show.
Yeah, man. It's a sad situation with a lot of the folks who put a lot of our trust into.
Yep.
And it turns out to be totally the opposite, kind of like we were totally fooled again. But that's the art of manipulation, I guess. And when you're dealing with the Mossad, especially Israel, that's what we're seeing firsthand right now in front of us. And it's freaking nuts when you're seeing videos of showing what I bet you saw it too. The video of this guy walking through Jerusalem. Everybody's on the street. Everybody's just chill. There is no issues, no bombings, nothing, zero. And this was March 4th. This is yesterday.
Right.
And I'm sitting there, and then this is another thing. And I want to get and the reason I'm bringing this up, I just want to get your take on this. And I'll put this up on the screen. So as we see this, if there's been bombing going on, I've been talking about this too, you're going to see a lot of smoke. I mean, you know that from your experience, correct? We're not seeing that anywhere in Israel. Another places here listed, not even Kuwait. They're saying it got hit too. Tel Aviv, nothing, zero.
Right.
No remnants of anything happening.
Right.
It just matches up.
You know, that is one of the biggest issues, I think, with the world today, or the matrix that we live in today, is their ability to control and manipulate it. And, you know, this has been going on and building up for a long time. Obviously, technology has given them the ability, algorithms, artificial intelligence, everything has given them ability to be able to manipulate the environment, but the environment is your mind, right? I talk about this a lot on my social media that, you know, the matrix is created through how you're educated and how you are raised in this world. You know, it determines by your religion, by the school system, the cycle of brainwashing through the grade system, all the Maxwell publishing books. You know, Robert Maxwell, one of the most infamous spies in Mossad history, created Maxwell Publishing, which then made every school book since 1948 in the United States. It's just wild when you think about it. So Israel has long been, and it's not just Israel. I want to be very clear on this. Israel is a means to an end, but this is a deep state. This is a global movement. There's a global oligarchy behind this. 13 very powerful families. And we can go on a tangent about that another time. But the build out here is the matrix is then created so that they show you a world, that they teach you a world. You're brainwashed in a world so that that's your lens, that's your perspective that you see reality with. So to be able to see the truth, it's almost impossible at that point because you've been indoctrinated and brainwashed into their system. So you only see what they want you to see. You only hear what they want you to hear. You only believe what they want you to believe. And then when people like me start to show you the truth and in yourself and what you're doing, and people reject it because it's outside of their indoctrination. So when the biggest problem that we're going to go into, and this is going to get exponentially worse because of the indoctrination system and then the world we live in today. Most of the people 45 and up are saying, like they call them the boomers, right? I'm not sure on the exact age, but right around 45. They cannot fathom that Trump is lying and that and playing us all for fools and that Israel's the bad guys. Because again, their matrix is they've been told in church their entire life Israel's God's chosen people. That's what God was talking about in the Bible with Israel and then Judaism. And then they've had, we've been under the propaganda of the whole Trump administration, for the past, 15, 16 years, from Trump being in a public office. And I don't, this is difficult for me, man, to talk about because I fell for it too, right? Even with all the knowledge I have, being in the military, special operations, CIA, I fell for it too. And you know, I voted for him thinking it was going to be different, knowing in the back of my mind, I knew he was involved in Epstein's Island. I knew they bailed him out in the 90s and got him out of bankruptcy. I knew he converted to Judaism in 2017. Like, I knew all these things, but I still had hope, you
Mhm.
know? So then again, back to the video, right? It's that could be fake too. You know, you don't know when that feed's from. You know, you
Mhm.
don't know what they're pumping out there because, you know, I have confirmed reports of missiles hitting Israel, but Israelis are not allowed to show any of this on social media. They're not allowed to videotape it.
Well,
They're not
CNN
allowed
did
to
that.
upload it.
CNN just did that. CNN,
Mhm,
they got a call from
mhm,
somebody, and they said you can't show that. And then another one, they shut it all completely down.
mhm. Well, Israel owns CNN or Zionists too, right?
Yeah,
Almost every news station is owned by Zionists. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's just a fact. And
right.
now with oh gosh, what's his Ellison? Now that Ellison and his son have created that monopoly of CNN and everything else, I mean, that's
Right.
directly controlled by Israel now and TikTok. You know, so again, because of the control of information, then the ability to create fake information, all of the different things that you know they've got out there, man. It's going to be very hard to know the truth, and that's why I tell my daughters all the time. I was like, get as many books as you can. Get as many books as you can. You
Yep.
know, stop watching stuff online. Start reading and start learning how the world really works. Because everything that you're going to see from here on going forward is just going to be the matrix and lies.
Right. And that's so true.
Hmm.
I mean, you look at things now, like you just brought up a good point.
Hmm.
Talk about these feeds. Okay, where are
Hmm.
they coming from? Do you really know where they're coming from? No, outside of the account, Intel cams are live. Um, how much now we got to look at everything as 50-50, everything,
Hmm.
especially online. And when you're looking at video and it looks so real, but
Yeah.
then you'll notice it has like a six finger instead of five, or you'll
Right.
see just very I mean, but the human eye or looking at it quick, you would miss it. You really would.
Right.
But that's how scary it is right now, and people run with that, and it also influences emotions, and that's
Yes.
where it can get crazy part of the psyop game.
Well, because people don't like to be lied to. People don't like to be lied to so much that even when they know they've been lied to, they
Right.
refuse to accept the truth because that's how much a lie hurts. You know, one of the things that we do, you know, when you become an intelligence guy, I don't, you know, spy, whatever you want to call it, when we go through our training, is you're literally taught how to navigate the human domain, right? And the
Mhm.
psychology of people. But first, you have to learn the psychology of people. You have to learn how people think, why they do what they do, you know. There and so it is so easy to take advantage of people, but because most people are just good. And what I mean by that is most people just want to be here. They want to, you know, they want to get married, they want to have kids, they want to build a family, own a home, live the American dream, right?
Right.
They don't have time to go read all the books and learn about the deep state and the occult and how Judaism is Satanism and that they worship Baal and all these different things. And all they want to know is when they go to church for that 1 hour on Sunday that the pastor's telling them the truth, that the news is being honest, and that their spouse isn't cheating on them, that their kids aren't doing drugs. You know, like, I mean, you know, and so that's why it's so easy for evil people to get away with it because evil never stops plotting, right? Evil's
Mhm.
always plotting, it's generational, they're always building up. And good people, they don't necessarily have their heads in the sand, but they just want to live the American dream. They just want to be happy. They just want to, you know, pursue their passions, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? And because of that, evil always gets away with being evil until the boot's on the good man's throat. And then the good man will fight back. And, you know, I, I mean, think about it like this, brother. We just found out that almost all of our leaders and elite in Hollywood and musicians are confirmed pedophiles
Yep.
that have been sacrificing children, drinking their blood, doing adrenochrome. Tim Burchett released a quote earlier today that the Epstein files that haven't been so released or something, I might be butchering this, are so satanic, it will shock the American people.
Well, is
And
that what's coming out Friday? The 47,000 files or whatever is
Mhm.
supposed to be by the end of this week. Is this why we're seeing so many distractions? What about
Yes.
Christy Home today? We're seeing all this, and everybody is just running over here. Oh my God, you hear about Christy? Blah, blah, blah. But then
Hmm.
I have 3 steps back, and I'm like, all right, everybody's going in. What's happening over here? What's happening? What is it that they do not want us to see?
Right.
And that's where it seems like every single time we're hearing about what's going on up in Washington, D.C., where they're canceling out where they could have taken people to jail, especially ones their own that were involved in a lot of human trafficking,
Hmm.
going to Rape Island. Um,
Right.
this is happening, and this happened today. I think I got some cuts or some videos, but they said point blank that because of the handling of the Epstein files. Now, here's my question for you.
Hmm.
What's your take on Bondi, number one, with how things were handled there? I'm assuming it's like a psyop. But why won't they release the Epstein files, and why is it that we're seeing Trump flip flopping back and forth from that? And let me tell you, everyone has been tripping on me a little bit. Not
Hmm.
everybody, but a small amount of individuals saying, "Man, how can you say this stuff?" Because I look at it as common sense. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of the things that he talked about on his campaign, and I voted for him. I've read every single book. I've had dealings with his company and third-party companies connected with the Trump organization. So it's not like I'm not wanting to say the things I'm saying, but my discernment and common sense is just screaming out saying, how can you sign bills on pesticides that have known to give people cancer?
Hmm.
How can you support 6G where it's going inside of your body and it can bypass Faraday bags? Okay.
We're in trouble.
Yeah, 100%. But him being behind it at first, I'm like, okay, it's got to be the administration that's been compromised and this and that.
Yeah.
But after a period of time, come on.
Brother, believe half the things you see, and or what is it? Some what you hear and half the things you see, something like that. Man, I'm going to tell you this, brother. We have been completely compromised, and this is something I've known for a long time. I mean, you're talking to a guy who helped create ISIS,
Hmm.
right? I mean, and I've been on multiple podcasts about that. We literally built ISIS for Israel with CIA on a CIA program. And Trump's openly talked about it. Obama's openly talked about it. I'm not worried about talking about classified information. Trump's acknowledged it. And I'm not proud of that, but I was just doing what I did. I was in the military and the CIA. It puts a lotion on its skin or it gets a hose again, right? You just do what they tell you. And when they're doing it, they don't tell you, oh, hey, Matt, you're creating ISIS. They tell you, oh, this group is going to go overthrow the Assad regime. Next thing you know, they're cutting people's heads off with the trucks and the guns and the things you're giving them. ISIS is directly controlled by Israel. Most of the leaders of ISIS are Mossad. Just a fact. So giving that was my first wake up call to we might not be the good guys, right?
Hmm.
Now, if you look at this from an objective standpoint and say, okay, who created the Federal Reserve, right? Rothschild and all of the head Zionist bankers here in the United States, right?
Right.
They created the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is the only institution in the United. It's not even in the United States government, but it's the only institution in the world that controls the world's money. It doesn't just control the U.S. dollar; it controls the world's money because it has the American military behind it, and that
Hmm.
is ran by Zionists who are loyal to the state of Israel, right? So 4 years after Rothschild created the Federal Reserve, he gets gifted Israel, by the King of England. And
Hmm.
and people aren't seeing this. And then in 1913, Rothschild funded the Schofield Study Bible, which completely changed the Bible and put everything in the favor of Israel and Jews and said Israel was the land and changed the name from Palestine. Right. And so all of these things happened
Wow.
in the early 1900s. So if you go back, the Schofield Study Bible is what started the brainwashing of Protestant Christian America. And
Okay.
that was fun about it. So the Federal Reserve is ran by Zionists, which then not only just now think about this, people, you want to think about how a conspiracy starts, and it's like I'm breaking it down to the simplest terms. If you control the money, the love of money is the root of all evil.
Hmm.
Since 1913, by now 2026, you have had the ability to buy off everybody, control everything, influence everything and everyone in the political class, the bureaucratic class, the
Okay.
U.S. military, corporations, banks, private equity. The Zionists have systematically taken over America and control everything now. It's not a conspiracy, and the reason they were able to do this, and this is what's going to make it believable, is they control the Federal Reserve. So if you think about it from there, almost everyone who gets into a position of power or influence or gets a big platform or wins a political party, they are funded by some Zionist person. Almost all of them, right? And are scared to. And like Sean Ryan, used to be a good friend of mine. We didn't have like falling out. Just life goes different ways. You, you
Sure.
know, I'm scared for him because he's speaking out against this so much right now. Because for a while there, I'm not trying beating up on Sean, but Sean shut up for about a year and a half, stopped having controversial guests on, and stopped having people come on and tell the truth once he got that advertiser money. And now Sean's going full tilt. He's woken up. He's seen it. He's had enough. And before that, like before the election, Sean was telling me, I don't, he didn't trust Trump, but he had Trump on his show, and then supported him. He got tricked, just like we all got tricked. It's tough, man, for people to swallow that, but it's propaganda. Like, who
Man, it's
doesn't want to
caused
save
a
America?
lot of splintering in the movement. I just got to say this.
Mm-hmm.
It is seriously, I can see it plain as day, and so many others, including everybody
Mm-hmm.
else watching, and not just with us here at PPN, but across the board in the movement.
Mm-hmm.
And people are getting so fed up of being psyop. They're so tired of being lied to, and they're definitely tired of being hurt when they put their trust or their votes. And all this was said, what the principles they were running on, and all of a sudden it doesn't matter anymore. Or we're talking about Cuba, and we're talking about these other countries that are not part of the Rothschild
Yeah.
banking, and they're really the last remaining parts of that. And then you see how we are being used so hard as a proxy.
Well,
It's insane.
we're the golden calf.
Yeah.
David Ben Gurion, the founder of Israel, first prime minister of Israel, he has a quote up. It's on my social media. I'm not gonna be able to say it directly, but he said the goal of Israel is to create a one world government and to bring the world under the law of the prophets. And basically, he means the Israeli Messiah, and to abolish all armies, to have like global police, and then the Noahide laws would come in with the Sanhedrin court. So like, this is the thing people need to understand. We have all these people like Marco Rubio. God, oh man, that guy's a whole piece of work. He earlier today said, "Well, the reason we're getting rid of Iran and attacking the regime, it's a country led by religious radicals,
Right.
zealots, right?" It's like, let's think about this. Israel was created to be a Jewish religious nation, right? Israel believes they are God's chosen people. They believe that they are better than everyone in the world, right? That they should rule over us and enslave us.
Right.
And Israel believes that, and Israel has 200 nuclear weapons, and they've never once complied with any national inspections or any. All the countries that have nukes have all signed in these international agreements to have their weapons inspected, to play by the rules so that all countries get along. Israel has
Right.
never once participated. They even stole the nukes from the U.S. So all that it's very well known. Ben Shapiro's uncle was the one who did it. So yeah, you can look us up. I've got a post up about it, laying it out factually. You can Google it. So it's just insane to me, man, that how we've been played and how they've gaslit everyone. But it's the propaganda. It is just a nonstop barrage of them playing your religion and your hopes and your belief in your nation against you. That's
Right.
how psyops work. They give you what you want, and they do what they want. They tell you what you want to hear, and it's tough, man. And here's the thing, man. I spent 20 years of my life fighting for this, what I believe to be America, right? I fought in Iraq, I fought in Afghanistan, I fought in Syria. I was one of the first people involved in the war in Syria, from the creation of the group that became ISIS to eventually destroying the group that I built, in 2018. Man, I had broken relationships and marriage, and then barely got to see my children, all this stuff, because I sacrificed so much of what should have made me happy, right? What a man should live for this
Mhm.
country, because I believe so much in this country and I love my country. But what kills me, once I learned the truth and got into intelligence, and especially now after I've gotten out, everything that I did, every battle I fought, every life that I've taken, every Christmas I've missed, every birthday that I've missed was for Israel. And it's just a fact. Now we know Israel did 9/11. Nobody can deny that at this point. I mean, the evidence is overwhelming. And it's to set this up. This is where all this is going, man. Israel did 9/11 to get America to invade Iraq, right? The weapons of mass destruction lie happened shortly after that. What you're seeing is, and Israel just openly admitted this in the past 2 weeks. Israeli politicians are openly admitting this. They want to take back, or no, excuse me, take back, acquire the lands of Canaan, the biblical lands of Canaan. This is
Right.
what this is all about. And so that when we invaded Iraq, we destabilized Iraq. We toppled the Iraq regime. We killed Saddam. We destroyed their entire military. Blew everything up. They have nothing left. They can't. America could take out, or Israel could take out their military in one day now. And then we put in a leader that we could control, and then we created all the elements for there to be sectarian and violence between Sunni, Shia, and Kurd in Iraq. For them to always be destabilized, just like the Balfour Agreement cut the lines in.
Right.
So what we've done, and then after that, there was the Arab Spring, which destabilized Syria, and then got Assad thrown out. Got Muammar Gaddafi killed in Libya, and his son was a friend of mine. I built an intelligence agency in Libya. So it was a whole mess, and so you see all of these dictators. Which Islam really needs to be ran by a dictator, because Muslims will kill each other real fast, right? You need a dictator to run them. They don't thrive in democracy. They don't think like we do. They have a different culture than we do. So we basically created every chaos in every country that Israel needed to take over for Greater Israel, and they're openly saying this now. So if 6 months ago people would have called me crazy when I said this, right? But now you've got chaos. So basically, here's what happened. They created all these terrorist groups. Like Israel created Hamas. Ron Paul has a speech in Congress about how Israel created Hamas and then funds them. Bibby
Right.
Files is a great thing to watch. Israel and America created ISIS and then funded and ran ISIS. I mean, the amount of trucks and weapons we gave ISIS is insane. And then, we created all these problems. So now you have all these nations falling apart, and now you have a huge push of immigrants, tens of millions of immigrants, that have fled the Middle East and
Right.
left these countries that Israel wants to take over here pretty soon. And then where do they send them? They come to America and the United States. Here's another thing that's not a conspiracy that you can look up. Almost all of the travel for all of the Muslim immigrants from Syria, from Iraq, and all the other countries that have been war torn have been paid for by wealthy Zionist donors like the Soros family. And look this up, an organization called HIAS, funded by Zionists, is what shipped tens of millions of Muslims into America and into Europe. Well, who approved all of these Muslims to enter America and Europe? Zionist bureaucrats and Zionist politicians, APAC politicians, and then the
Right.
same dynamic throughout Europe. So
Right.
here's what you're about to see happen. And if I'm
That's
wrong,
what I was
well,
about to ask you. Okay, so
mhm,
where are we leading up to now,
mhm,
big dog? Okay, so
mhm.
what's up now?
Yeah. So here's what's going to happen. They have flooded Israel, America with Muslims, and Europe with Muslims, and they've gotten tens of millions of Muslims out of the Middle East. So now they have to. What Trump is doing right now, he is systematically destroying the Iranian military. What they're going to do is they're going to destroy every boat, every plane, every tank, every piece of equipment that could even cause issue for another nation. They're going to destroy it, and then they're going to put in the Shah, former Shah Pahlavi son, who has already kissed the wall in Israel and said his goal as Iranian leader will be to create diplomatic relations and make Israel his best friend. Right?
Wow.
I've got a video of that on my Instagram page. So they're going to put him into power during this time because they knew this war would be so unpopular. And again, prophecy. I believe you're about to start seeing these terrorist cells here in the U.S. kick up attacks
Right.
because right now the approval for this war is sinking. It was at 27% 2 days ago. I think it's probably about 23% right now. America doesn't want this war. Even MAGA doesn't want this war because they voted for no more wars.
That's right.
So I think you're about to see a lot of terrorist attacks here in the U.S. I know we have about 18,000 known terrorists, affiliated terrorists
Crazy,
with
isn't it?
ISIS
Yeah.
right here. And a lot of times this will, again, remember when I talked about who created ISIS and who created Hamas and who helped fund and run Hezbollah? It's just the truth. Americans need to wake up to this. Who's running them? Who's handling these cells? Why are they still here? Here's another funny thing. Trump, we voted for Trump to get all these illegals out, right?
Right.
Trump's deportations, and this is just facts. People can get mad at me all you want. I'm just telling the truth. Trump's deportations in the first year of his presidency are lower than the last four presidents, himself included. The only difference is we have 30 million new people here from the Biden administration, right? Well, yeah, that's when they got away with it. So ICE has not been going after MS-13, cartels, terrorists, anyone dangerous. They've been going after Jose, who's showing up to work and trying to feed his family.
Right.
There hasn't been one ICE gunfight except for them, killing a couple liberals. But and what can you do? So my point is, the people that we needed to be taken out of this country, they're still here.
Mhm.
Plus about 30 million more because Trump hasn't deported anybody. All right. So, and I think he's going to blame Kristi Noem when all this crap starts to happen. That's why she just
That's
resigned.
what I was about to ask you. Is she the
Yeah.
scapegoat on all this?
Oh yeah, 100%. The scapegoat. Yeah. Well, she didn't do her job, and now we're all getting attacked by immigrants. Someone to blame, man. Dude, they're playing 5G chess, but not to take America back. They're playing 5G chess on us, brother. So you're going to see terrorist attacks happen here in the U.S. They've been planning, and
To what
we've been
extent?
seeing.
If you don't mind me asking, I got to
Yeah,
ask you. You start getting on the roll. I got to slow you down for a second.
yeah.
So,
Shut me up, man.
yeah, you're good. So,
Mhm.
okay, in terms of a terrorist attack, what
Mhm.
are you envisioning with your experience with this? Because you've seen it in other countries where it leads up to what we're about to experience. We just have not experienced it outside of 9/11, and it's going to be in multiple, probably states, I would imagine. We've always
Yep.
said it happened in 17 different cities, highly populated areas, and it's going to be coordinated.
Yes, it
Um,
is.
so, I mean, what degree do you think a lot of folks need to shift their mindset to for what's about to happen?
Well, man, Sarah Adams and a bunch of other people have been reporting on this for a while. We've been seeing chatter and intel reports about this. Um, the last report I saw that's been widely shared is this 10 plus city attack, 10 plus city coordinated attack where they're going to go after, low hanging fruit, where basically mass casualty places. So, you're going to talk about maybe like malls or big bar districts or,
Like suicide
yeah.
vest, they're walking in and
Yeah, well, just straight up shooting people. There would be some combination of suicide vests, bombs, shooting people as they run out, kind of chaos. But then
right.
also, there's been reports coming in that they're going to also attack first responders too. So just to create this
Ooh,
mass casualty chaos, here in the U.S. And I mean, there's 30 million of them here, in the past 5 years, and there's 18,000 known agents. God knows how many intel assets or sources from other nations. God knows, what else is here, man. I mean, who knows what they've got? I mean, like think about it, man. 100, tens of millions of tons of drugs are brought into the U.S. every year. I
sure.
mean, how hard would it be to get
Do you
gun
think this
bombs
is
and
going to
bullets in?
propel us into some type of civil war? Because a lot of folks
No.
that I've talked with, they said you
Mhm.
don't want it to get to this level. It becomes civil war. It's kind of
Mhm.
like, for instance, a lot of folks are saying about Tina Peters.
Yeah,
Suppose that she's going to be released hopefully in the next week or two. I pray it's true. I
I hope
pray
so too.
um, but I wonder if this is another psyop to piss people off and irritate more people at this point, to where people kind of say,
Mhm.
"I'm done." The
Yeah,
silenced ones, the ones that's been in the woods, that hadn't bothered anybody, said, "Well, that's all I need to know," and they
right,
start, handling business, street justice. Do you think
right.
it's ever
Well,
going to get to that?
I think it could, man. I mean, at minimum, what they want you to do, just like what 9/11 did to the United States, it's what it accomplished its mission. It got us to support Israel in the wars and Toby Keith songs to be playing in the background. I joined the military with that, right?
Sure.
Um, I really believe that it's at minimum, it's going to push America to support the war because obviously you're going to blame it on Iran, Iranian sleeper cells, Iranian bullshit. Um, but I also believe there's there's a whole other aspect to this, right? And so there's multiple truths always, and there's multiple lies always. And I think this is the hardest thing for most people and why they get so mad. They can only accept one truth. Like five different truths seem to be a little too much for the average person. But um, Israel wants what they call the Gog Magog war, right? It's a prophetic war. And I've heard a lot of rabbis recently speaking on it in the past 2 years, and they're talking about how this is a war between the Christians and the Muslims, right? Israel believes this is Jewish prophecy. They believe the Christians and the Muslims have to be pitted against each other, which is why they shipped them all here, multiple troops, right? Get them out of their backyard, but then send them here, and that this is going to turn into this Gog Magog prophetic war of Christians versus Muslims, and it's going to get so bloody, and it's going to get so bad. And this is a prophecy that, and I'm saying I believe this is what they're trying to do, that it's going to get, then the Muslims and Christians will band together and then descend upon Israel, and their Messiah comes to power from defending against this attack. Like he does something to prevent this attack. So and their Messiah, the Antichrist. Now, Israel's openly said they're about to take back Greater Israel because that's prophecy. They believe they have to do it. Israel's openly talked about the red heifer. They just sacrificed the red heifer last August. And then every Jew in the world, every Zionist Jew got a piece of his ash mixed with water to do a spiritual cleansing for what's coming from this heifer. You can look that up too. And then the next part is, and Israel just openly started talking about this 2 days ago. The Al Aqsa, I might be saying that wrong, mosque in Jerusalem, in Old Jerusalem, is the second oldest mosque in the world. It's 1,400 years old. It is one of the holiest sites in Islam, but it was built upon the site of Solomon's temples, Solomon's first and second temples. So Israel believes that they have to destroy that temple. And now some famous Israeli rabbi today said that they're going to deflect a missile from Iran into the mosque to demolish it. Well, that's another prophetic thing that Israel has to do. The third temple has to be built. So they had to sacrifice the red heifer first before they could build the third temple. But simultaneously, while they're getting the third temple, they also have to secure Greater Israel again, which is parts of Iraq through Babylon, parts of Syria, all of Lebanon, all of Jordan, from the Nile in Egypt to Nile east, and then North Saudi Arabia, that's mostly just abandoned desert. Those are the biblical lands of Canaan, and Israel believes they have to secure those again. So to me, the only radical religious state in the world that's actually carrying out their prophecy and their religion is Israel. And, we're their best friend, and we're using our military to do it for them. So then, a lot of this stuff is tough because a lot of people, whether you believe in God or not, they do. And they're, well, not the God the Christians believe in, but you know what I mean.
Right.
They're carrying out prophecy and they're openly saying it. They're openly saying it. And people that, are supporting this war and still supporting Trump just refuse to believe, this. They, even if they see it, they refuse to believe it and call people like me crazy. It just doesn't make sense. They say it, they publish it, they talk about it in the Times of Israel. I don't know what else we can do for Americans to wake up that this is headed nowhere good, that Israel owns us, straight up owns us, and controls everything. And unless we do something to take this country back, I mean, we're just going to be another country led by pedophiles who sacrifice our children.
Do you think you have a timeline in your head with obviously where this is going till there's a total breakdown? I mean, we keep on hearing this for like, we got 4 years left. We keep on seeing these little memes all over the internet and this talking about, alien agenda and, whatever.
Well, that's coming soon too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was hoping it was with that, whatever that Atlas that was still actually in our orbit supposedly, but I thought that was it. But obviously, no, they're holding out on World War III type of situation. Hey, speaking of that, what about the EU? Okay, the narrative that we're hearing, obviously, they're planning on cutting the resources to the EU. That's no bueno. And then we're hearing rumblings of China going obviously and invading Taiwan, and that's always been on the table, of course.
Oh, well, it's about to happen. World War III is coming, brother. Nothing's stopping it. Here's what I want Americans to think about, and just really sit back and think about this. Remove the MAGA, remove the brainwashing, remove just for 5 minutes, right? the blind support of Trump, right? This is what Americans need to do. I just think freely for 5 minutes. When has America made it its policy since 2000, since 2001, before that, to go and change leaders and destroy other sovereign nations just because we don't like them or we wanted to control their resources, right? Since 2001, that has become an American policy that we've never had. Right now, we've done things with the economy and played CIA games and everything else to control resources. But Trump just literally took Maduro out because he wouldn't sell oil to Israel, and he was trading oil with China and Russia in their own currencies, which is a big no-no, right? So took out Maduro, put a puppet in place. Now Venezuela has a Rothschild bank. Okay, fast forward to Iran. Trump literally made a statement today or yesterday. He wants to be involved in picking the new leader of Iran. How the hell can President Trump, one, send our military in without Congress, start destroying Iran because they call them, he says they're religious radicals. He already said back in the 12-Day War they don't have nuclear weapons anymore, but now I guess they magically might almost have them again, right? And then now he wants to pick the leader for Iran. What that's doing is that's showing China and Russia that
They
at
can do
some
it
point, right? Yeah, that if they don't step up, that America is going to have most of the world leveraged against them, right? Because America is going after the Middle East right now. That's the majority of the world's oil. And we just did Venezuela, which has the largest stockpile of oil in the world. Venezuela's oil can be used for everything in the refining process, not just gas. So you're seeing America not just fight wars to free people, systematically control the world's resources.
good.
In that. And hey, it's great if you're American, but how many other people have to die and how many other people got to suffer? And we're not really doing this for America. We all know who our boss is now. And not one pedophile has been arrested. So Epstein's Island was highly successful in blackmailing and controlling the United States of America. So China and Russia see this, and at some point they're going to pull a trigger and they're going to do what's best for their sovereignty, for their people, and their future because they don't want to be Israel's little bitch either, right? But at the rate we're headed, most of the Western world is, so it's difficult to see, man. I'm all for fighting for my homeland. I've got three daughters. I love them to death. I would do anything in the world for my girls. I'd go fight and die for them if I had to. But what does any of this have to do for our children's future? All we're doing is passing down debt to them. All we're doing is creating a future of hostility for them. And I just don't see this ending anywhere good for the United States of America.
You still think it's past the point of no return?
If
Was
you
that
gotta
too
remember,
a
man.
question to ask?
Yeah,
No.
I'm not a pessimist, brother. I just, I as much as I've studied the geopolitical situation, warfare, and all these things going on, if not more than that now, I've studied the Bible and prophecy and read the Quran, read the Torah to Tanakh, as much of the Talmud as I could stomach. Very well versed in religion, and all of these things are prophetic. You have a bunch of rich, powerful men. This just didn't start 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or 100 years ago. You have generations of a global oligarchy that worships Baal and Lucifer that are trying to set the conditions to manifest destiny for the end times. And so, if you believe in Jesus and you read the Bible and you look at Revelation, everything that Revelation says is there will be signs, there will be wars and rumors of wars. And Israeli prophecy is the direct antithesis, or excuse me, it matches exactly up with, biblical prophecy. The only difference is they win. The devil wins. So Jesus is the Messiah. Jesus is the Son of God. I believe that. I believe in Jesus, and they don't. They believe Jesus is burning in a cauldron of feces. That's in the Jewish Bible, the Jewish book of law, and they believe their Messiah is yet to come. So they're setting the stage, if you're a Christian, for the Antichrist, because there can't be another Messiah.
Right.
So This comes down to religion, right? But I don't see Christians going out there and manifesting destiny. I don't see Christians going out there and murdering people. I do see Christians being used and manipulated by the synagogue of Satan. That's what I see.
Well, all I can tell you is
Mhm.
it sucks. Number one.
It
Number two,
does.
that we have to go through this. But yeah, I know you've said in the past, no one is coming to save us. And I see a lot of
Mhm.
comments in the chat. What about the
Mhm.
military? Isn't the military already involved? And to my
Yeah.
understanding, the military, yes, but aren't certain parts of the military still compromised?
Well, you got to remember this, man. There has been massive changes of leadership, especially at the general level,
Mhm.
by both the previous administrations. They put the people, their puppets, the people that align with them, in charge. The military is not elected. The military leaders are appointed, usually by Congress, but we all know who owns Congress outright. APAC completely controls our Congress. I would assume to say there's probably some good leaders left, but most of the leaders have kissed the ring. I mean, remember that video from I think it was September of last year, maybe October of last year, where Pete Hegseth was introducing Donald Trump, and he walked into the room full of our generals and admirals, and not one of them clapped, stood up, or anything. They were just sitting there in complete silence. I think our military, for the most part, is probably against this. No one wants to send our troops to go die for Israel.
Right.
You know, it it's tough, man. Here's the thing, right? I'm not judging people in the military right now. They got to follow orders. They've
Right.
got to, that's how the system works. I mean, I went and
Do
fought
you
for
think
20
we're going to have
years.
troops on the ground in Iran? Do you
Oh,
think it's
without
going
a doubt. Without a doubt. Most of the crap you're seeing on social media, especially from these MAGA accounts, and most accounts, it's all bullshit, man. You know, um, Iran is a formidable military. They've been getting ready for this for generations, man. They know this was coming. They're entrenched. Most of their country is hardline Shia Islamists, right? They're
to?
they're going to stick with the Ayatollah. Yeah, sure. You're seeing pockets on video because like it's what social media does. They're like one video of one area in one
Hmm.
big ass country, right? And
Hmm.
then they show people celebrating. Well, yes, Iran has one of the fastest growing Christian populations in the world. Iran has a healthy and thriving Jewish community too. They weren't being persecuted by the Ayatollah. It's all lies, man. I've got a lot of Iranian friends, and most of
Do you
the
have anybody
Ayatollah
in
was a
Iran
yeah.
by chance? Do you have any boots on the ground in Iran by chance at this
Oh,
point? Or
but that's what I mean. So you're going to see America get gaslighted into boots on the ground in Iran. They've already sent Kurdish people in today. So they
I
sent
heard about
Iraqi
that.
Kurds
Yes.
in today,
Yep.
and you're going to see American troops soon to follow. I think what they're probably going to do, if I was a betting man, just based on propaganda politics and just the history of Israel's actions, what you're probably going to see is some type of attack. I've been thinking they might sink one of those aircraft carriers or some type of terrorist attack here in the US. They're going to do something to sway the American populace behind the war. And that's when it's going to be boots on the ground because you never go boots on the ground with mass casualty unless the country is behind you. So they've got to stir some shit up and do something really fucking bad here pretty soon. And then after that, I believe you'll start to see American boots on the ground, unfortunately.
Let me ask you this last question because I know we got to start wrapping up. And thank you so much for
Mhm.
coming on tonight. I've
Of
enjoyed
course,
this.
brother.
A lot of our viewership out there are digging it as well. 37% of the world internet is at that strait underneath in the Red Sea,
Hmm.
cables and everything. We've heard reports that could be a potential target.
Yes.
Uh, and could you imagine 37 of the world, internet going out, and what obviously that would affect, of course. Now, I've heard some people. Do you know for a fact if our military has escorted ships through that?
Yes.
I think Trump had said something where he had done something, reverted the insurance, and made it to where it was a benefit for them and to be able to capitalize on moving the product through on the chips through the ship.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my business partner, I'm not gonna say names just because what I talk about publicly, is very involved in the Red Sea war risk insurance and reinsurance business. We do paramilitary stuff and all that type of nonsense. But yes, there's been a lot of calls to put private military contracting back in the Red Sea, and the global insurance market right now could burst. I mean, we could also see some type of economic collapse as well. Not to go on a tangent, but this one's very important. Oil has to stay between $40 to $120 a barrel. Has to. If it goes below or above, we'll start to see global economic collapse and the collapse of the U.S. dollar within probably 3 to 5 days. Because the petro trade is the only thing keeping the dollar afloat. So one of the former heads of the CIA, I'm not going to say names either, sent me a text the other day and said if this continues on path, we could see oil reach $300 a barrel, which would
Good
be
God.
catastrophic to the global economy. There's a lot of dynamics going on with the whole Red Sea and resources, but I think what people need to understand is warfare has changed because our life has changed. So, you go back to World War II, we didn't have the internet. We didn't give two shits about the internet or cable TV. You could pick up a phone on a landline and call somebody. Life was just simpler then. You had money in under your mattress, man. Your savings was under your mattress. And there was a still kind of a thriving undertone of farming and growing your own food, and the people were more resourceful. People were more hardened. People knew what it was like to be hungry, what it was like to be hot, what it was like to be cold. Nowadays, people freak. I almost said that word. People freak out, if they can't get Wi-Fi on their, where's the Wi-Fi? People don't know what it's like. Americans don't know what it's like to be hot or cold or hungry. Americans don't know what it's like to not be able to communicate with people. They don't know what it's like to not be able to spend their money. Well, so this fifth generation warfare that's gone away from bombs and bullets, but it goes to propaganda, all the psychological warfare. We're all in it right now. It literally can depress you if you listen to it too much, but it also goes into cyber attacks, hacking, shutting down the power grid. There's so many things that one hacker could do to destabilize this country. If you overload the power grid, you can send America back to the dark ages. We don't have the copper or the resources to rebuild all the transformers. We would be in the dark ages for years if
Mhm.
somebody attacked our power grid. So, and it just takes a hacking team to do that. You shut down the internet, you destroy systems at Verizon or AT&T or one of those pipelines. We're so vulnerable because we are completely dependent on this damn system. We all are.
Right.
We all
Right.
are. So they can bring a nation. You can bring a nation to its knees now without bombs and bullets. You
Yep.
could probably make the younger generation fucking bend the knee to any god or any country if you cut the Wi-Fi off. I mean,
That's how fractured we are as a
100%.
as society in general. And it's unfortunate if our grandparents or great grandparents were still alive. I would imagine they would be very disappointed. And and unfortunately, technology is a double-edged sword. Um,
100%.
Unfortunately it's ruined society, but it is what it is for advancements and things like that. But brother, we got to start wrapping this thing
Yeah.
up. I will tell you, number one, thank you so much. Final thoughts, 2 minutes or less. Anything you
Yeah.
want to leave on it?
Well, man, I just want to say this. I just hope that everybody looks to Jesus, and guys, there's nothing we can do to stop the administration right now. There's nothing we can do to stop Israel right now. There's nothing we can do individually to come together and take over the world. Hopefully, there'll be a shot heard around the world moment. But I think what we all can do is follow Jesus, be the best person we can be in our community and our families as parents, and really just focus on the things that matter. It's good to know what's going on in the world. It's important to see where this is going, but the things that matter the most are your children, your communities, your family, your friends, and having your faith right. Because if I'm right, which I hope I'm wrong, we're all going to need to be right with Jesus here pretty soon, and know that we make sure that we're strong in our faith and that we're not led to the slaughter or we don't bend the knee, because it's everything's pointing towards dark times coming, and I think as believers, we all know that means Jesus is coming at the end of it, right? So I think it's just get right with Jesus, man, and Start waking up to what's really going on in the world. Because one thing I can promise you is there's no 5D chess going on. There's no mass arrest coming, and there's nothing but wars and rumors of wars coming. And they've set the tone for that, and there's no turning back after what they just did in Israel. In Iran.
Amen. As
Well,
always, thank you for your service, Matt, and thank you for everything you do. And I
well,
wish you a wonderful, wonderful night. Take
I
care.
appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
See you, man.
God bless.
Another one in the box, folks. Appreciate everyone tuning in as you always do. God bless the Republic of the United States of America, and God bless you, Patriots. Without you folks, there is no America or world. Take care. I'll see you in the morning. Hi there, I'm Chaz Carter. Welcome to Patriot Shoot. If you're looking for a censorship-free platform where you can freely express your thoughts and connect with like-minded individuals, then you're in the right place. At Patriot Shoot, we offer more than just a membership. For just $8.99 per month, we provide you with daily intel, weekly giveaways, and access to our exclusive voice chat platform called Patriot Talk, where we have somewhere between 200 to 400 active members just on that alone, discussing a wide range of topics every single day. You'll gain access to our state groups where you can connect with members in your state at a grassroots level. Our community is all about open dialogue and sharing valuable information without the fear of being silenced. Whether it's discussing current events, giving advice, or personal matters, or simply connecting with others on Patriot Shoot, it is the place to be. So what are you waiting for? Join us today. Experience the freedom of speech and just fill out the form below and get started. We cannot wait to have you here with us, and welcome aboard.